Hello all. In this video, I will be teaching you about all the things that are needed in order to write and run your C programs successfully on your computer. So before starting, let me ask you this question. What do you think is required on your computer in order to write and run your C programs successfully? Or let me frame this question in this form. What is the first step towards running your first C program? So the first step that you got to take even before writing your first C program is that you have to set up your computer's environment. Now, what do you mean by setting up a computer's environment? So if you want to set up a computer's environment, you got to install these four tools or applications onto your computer. So the first one is an editor, the second one is a compiler, third one is a set of libraries, and fourth one is a debugger. Right? So if you have these four tools or applications set up on your computer, then it means your computer's environment is set up to write and run your C programs successfully. Now, what does an editor do? An editor is a tool which is used for writing and editing your source code. A compiler is a tool which is used to convert your high-level C source code into machine understandable binary code. Libraries are nothing but a set of predefined library functions which comes very handy when you develop your C applications. And debugger is again a very important tool which will help you debug your source code when you don't get the desired output. So to set up your computer's environment to support your C programs, then you got to have these four tools or applications installed on your computer, right? Now, how do you install all these four tools or applications onto your computer? Okay, so that I will be explaining it to you in the next slide, right? So there are three ways by which you can actually set up your computer's environment, right? The first method is you can install all these tools, okay, one by one by downloading it from the internet by yourself. You can do it manually. The second way is that you can install an IDE on your computer. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. So this is basically a standalone software, a single software, okay, which comes with inbuilt compiler, editor, debugger, and libraries and all such kind of stuffs. So by installing IDE on your computer, you don't have to install all these tools manually by yourself one by one. Okay, so that is the advantage of the second method. And the third way is that you don't need to install anything on your computer. Rather, you can just use some online compilers which by going to a specific website, and you can run your C source code on somebody else's website. Okay, so this is the third method. Now, so let me give you some tips on how to actually go ahead and do this, right? So here, so these are my personal preferences, right? I don't say you'll have to follow the same method, but these are my personal preferences or my suggestions to you. So if you are working on a Linux machine, then I would suggest you to install GCC compiler and other tools all by yourself by downloading it from the internet, right? So to do that, you can visit my website over here, okay, and I've given you step-by-step procedure in step-by-step procedure which will teach you how to actually do that. So if you are actually using a Linux machine, okay, you can go to the terminal and you can use a command, and if your computer is connected to an internet, then you can use this command called as sudo apt-get install build essential. When you run this command, all the essential build elements, okay, all the tools that are actually required for your compilation and execution of your C program would be automatically installed. So this is one way that you can do it, and if you are working on a Linux machine, I would suggest you to do this, and it's quite simple. Right? Now, if you are working or if you are writing your C programs on Windows machine, then installing all by yourself becomes a tedious task. It is quite complicated task. Therefore, I would suggest you to use use any of the famous IDEs. Okay, so some of the suggestions which I would like to give you is Dev C++ or code blocks. Right? So I would be also giving you a video link on how to actually write your write, compile and run your C programs on Dev C++ IDE, so that it would be very helpful to you to actually work on Dev C++ IDE, right? And now if you are using your Mac machine, then you will have to install your Xcode developer tools from your App Store. Okay, let me show that to you. You can go to your App Store and you can search for something called as Xcode. Okay, Xcode. Okay, so can you see this? Okay, so this is called as your Xcode developer tools, and if you can install it from here, if you can install from the App Store and if you can install this on your computer, I think you are set, and you would be able to write and run your C programs successfully. This developer tools pretty much has everything that is actually required to write and run your C programs. right? So these are my preferences, and I would like to give you a special note. I personally do not prefer online compilers for serious learners. It's because if you really want to enjoy coding, if you want to really enjoy learning how to code, then I would suggest you to use real compilers installed on your machine, and instead of going to some online, going in search of some online compilers. Okay, but still, if you really want to get started and you don't want to install any of these tools on a computer, and but still you want to work on some online compilers, then I have few online suggestions for your online compilers. So when I did a quick Google research, I found these two compilers very good. Okay, one is called as onlinegdb.com, where you can actually write your program over here, and you can actually run the programs here, right? So you can make use of this online compilers so that you don't need to install anything onto your computer. And the second one is that you can make use of this online compiler which comes with this website called as CodeChef. Okay, so you can say codechef.com/ide. So this is one of the online compiler which I personally liked, and the other one which I liked is onlinegdb.com. Even this is really good. Okay, so there are many such online compilers. These two are my preferences, and if you feel any other compilers, online compilers, very good and handy, yes, you can definitely comment that in the comment section below here, right? So my personal suggestion for using an editor would be VI editor or gedit if you are working on Linux machines. Okay, and if you are making use of your Windows machines, then you can actually use Notepad as your editor to write and edit your source code. But if you are using your IDE on your Windows machine, then I don't need you even need a Notepad, because the IDE would contain an inbuilt editor where you can write and edit your source code. But yes, if you are not using your IDE and if you wish to run your programs via the command prompt, then you will have to use Notepad to write your C program and save it with a .c extension, and then you can use your compiler to compile this program via the command prompt and run your code. Okay, so this is all. I think you must have all these tools installed on your computer, so you can decide which way would you like to actually have your computer's environment set up. Okay, so once you are done this, I feel you are ready to run your first C program. So in the upcoming video, I would be showing you how to compile your first C program, and how to actually run your first C program. Okay, so thanks for watching this video. Meet you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.